You're now joining Cats on Guard, the #1 podcast about life behind the cockpit door. We're going to share the untold stories from the sky. We're talking crazy layovers, oddball crew members, hotel and restaurant views, and more.
I'm MC Howe. From instructing, piloting, flight attending, I've been doing this since the 90s.
And I'm Captain Richard, and I've been doing this since 2006.
Hey, we're going to spill secrets from the sky.
Wouldn't that be dive bombing?
Lav dumping.
Welcome to Cats on Guard. Hello.
Hello. What are we doing?
MC Howe is in the house.
Well, I'm on the airwaves anyway, or the band
recorded
waves.
Recorded waves.
Speaking of waves, are you out in LA?
I am, the lovely LAX.
Nice. How'd you get there today?
Well, we got there, well, it's beautiful here, but we got here through means of confusion, which I think every airline pilot probably understands, where any pilot that's flown into here on an arrival
Yes.
probably knows what I just did. But let me explain to you what happened, because you probably had this happen too.
Yeah, I know it, and I know what you're going to say because I prep
You
my
do?
FOs. I prep my FOs for this every time we go in there. Especially
Your
if the-
FOs.
Well, yeah, my FOs are the younger guys that have never been there before. They need a lesson.
Oh,
That
we
starts
just-
like 150 miles out.
I don't know how we do this every day. We know there's going to be a problem, and it happens to you once the first time, and then you never get it wrong again because you're like, oh, here this goes. All right, so here's what happened. So we're like, I don't know, 150 miles away from LA. We're like over Vegas. And they're like, hey, you're going to fly this route into LA, and you're going to land on this runway. There's 4 of them, right? 2 of them are for takeoffs, and 2 of them are for landings. The outsides are for landings. The insides are for takeoffs because you like leave the gate and you go right to your runway.
Right.
The landings
Yes.
land, and then they like work you across and bring you into your gate later. So we're lining up over like Vegas. So this is like really far away.
Oh,
and,
so far out.
And I'm flying with my boss, which is cool because I've done this, he's done this. So I'm figuring we're both on the same page here. So they tell you that you're going to fly this arrival route. And then when you get to the end of that route, you're going to join the approach for whatever runway it was. It was like one of the 2. So was it 24 and 25 left and right, something like that?
You land. Wait, you're going to land on 25 left or 24 right.
Yeah, that's what it is. So
Yeah.
you can look it up at home, folks, if you want. But anyway, it's one of the 2 runways, but they connect in like a different route. So I said, hey, every time I've come here, they've lied to me. I plan on something, I check into it, I look it up, I read it, I program it all, and then they just switch it up at the last second.
Let's
Right?
say it's not so much a lie as we just changed our mind.
Yeah, sure. It created a whole lot more workload that you prepared for 20 minutes before landing that's no longer applicable. So I set the whole plan up for this. And I said, hey, back at my old job when I worked with you, I was like, we always just use the secondary flight plan, which is like a backup route.
I was about to ask you if you have one on your new fancy
So we
jet.
do, but like nobody uses it because they're not put in this situation very often. So I was like, we could load it there. And then like, if they switch the plan up on us, all we have to do is click, and we're like activated on the other plan, like the backup plan.
So
And he
for
goes,
the
"Nah."
listener, for the uninitiated, the civilian listener, we have these electronic boxes in the computers in the airplanes called what do they call it? FMS, Flight Management System. So what are you, sniffling on me? You dying? You're not supposed to fly sick. Call out for the rest of the month.
I thought I was muted. My mistake.
No. So we've got the FMS, which is the Flight Management System, and that's where we program all of our flight plans, and it does a whole bunch of other stuff.
Fuel burns, weights.
Yeah, none of that's applicable to this story. But what is applicable is we have 2. We have the main one, which we use, and then we have a backup or a secondary one. So you programmed the main one for the landing you were told to get.
Yes.
And then you
surprise.
Yeah. So, but you had the forethought because you've done this with me, maybe with someone else who is almost equally as good as me. They taught you, put it in the secondary, have it ready.
So do you remember in the flight instructor days what the definition of learning is in the eyes of the FAA?
Tell me, remind me, because I've forgotten.
Learning is defined by the FAA as a change in behavior as a result of experience. That's on your written test.
That's very book smart.
So I changed my behavior of listening to these controllers that tell you this is what you're going to do And I learned and changed my behavior to plan on they're probably not serious. They're gonna change their mind. Somebody else is gonna change their mind at shift change or whatever.
Well, to be fair, at the moment, while we're recording this, our government is shut down here in America, and all these air traffic controllers are working without pay. So, is it possible you got a little, maybe somebody up there who's kind of like, I don't care. I'm going to mess with these guys because
No.
nobody's paying me anyway. No?
No, this has gone on for years,
No.
decades.
Okay.
Ask any LA regular. It's just like, "Oh, here we go again, the
I'm
other
an
the
LA
change."
regular,
Yeah,
and
and I
I
love
know.
the LA flights.
Yeah,
By the
you're
way,
right.
I can get my LA flights done 45 minutes faster than yours from further away.
Uh,
I just looked up my logbook for my flight time for today versus my flight time when I was working with you, and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, look at that.
yeah.
How about that?" So, anyway,
Congratulations.
yeah, I know, right? Thanks. So, I talk with the guy I'm flying with, and he's like, "Ah, we're fine." I'm like, "All right, suit yourself." And I was the pilot flying, and he's the pilot monitoring. So, the pilot monitoring is the one that has to push all the buttons when they change the plan, right? So, I just sat there, fat, dumb, and happy, and then sure enough, runway, this, that, and I was like, "Well," and he's like, "Oh, let me go get in there and do all these things," and he does, and it's fine. It's not really that much more work, but it creates us we have to rebrief everything. We have to brief a new taxi plan. We have to brief all the other things that we have to brief now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, how do people we do this every day and they can't just figure this out? Really? I mean,
And I will say this while you wipe your nose. I don't know what kind of weather you had over there, but it's been my experience that LA much prefers to let the pilots handle most of the workload. So what I mean by that is that we can fly a visual approach or an instrument approach. And if you fly an instrument approach, then the controller is responsible for getting you on course to that runway. They hate doing it. They are absolutely notorious. You see the runway? Don't you see the runway yet?
clear visual.
Yeah, they want my gosh, and they get annoyed if you don't see it.
It's hazy here most of the time. Today we didn't. Today we could see it from like over the mountain range.
Yeah, over Palm Springs.
What's that big lake? Big Bear? Yeah, there's like a big lake up on the top of a mountain. It's beautiful. Anyway, we could see the runway from there, which I've never been able to do here before. So that was a first. But the fact that we do this all the time and we mitigate it, right? It's not a life-saving not excuse me, not a life-saving change in this instance, but these little mitigations that we do because we know better, because we've seen a thing or two. What's that commercial in the insurance? Like we know a thing or two because we've seen
Yeah,
a thing or two.
yeah.
Yeah. So we just mitigate these things before they become catastrophes.
So how lucky that your boss was flying with you because you've been there before and you knew this
Well,
was gonna happen.
he's been there too. He didn't think, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like the secondary.
Well, I'm glad that you had it ready and that you were able to put it down on the ground, wheels first, and
Yeah,
walk away from it because
wheels
sometimes
first, preferably the back ones first, not the
well,
front one.
sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
No, yeah. There's been too many times in our careers where we didn't quite get as fortunate, right?
And that brings us to the topic of today's show here on the Cats on Guard podcast, starring co captain Richard Million, who has flown cargo
All the
jets,
things.
corporate jets, passenger jets, and today flew very successfully into Los Angeles Airport. And I am your co host, MC Howe. Today's topic: how are we still alive?
How are we still alive?
Honest
Tell
to
me.
God, I have told this many times to the people that I work with, and I'm so glad I finally get to use this line for the masses. Do you know why we're still here? Do you know why? Do you know why you and I have the jobs that we have?
Skill.
No, it has nothing to do with skill. It's because it's because we're the ones that have survived.
few, few that have made it through the
Have you?
gates of
Tell me the truth. How many dead pilots do you know?
okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate. Like,
Yeah.
yes, there's
Yes.
more than one, right? So, yeah, but
Hmm.
you wonder if you would have done the same thing in their shoes, or what did I do to not die that that person didn't do, and it didn't work out so well for them.
Well, have you ever come close to dying?
We have an entire episode planned about that, sir.
Isn't this it?
How are we still alive?
Yeah.
Item for item. So I guess we could just throw some examples out there. How do you want to lead this?
Well, what brought this up to me the other day, I was flying with a cat who told me about a time he worked at a flight school down in Florida, and somebody was actually doing their check ride in a Piper Arrow. They were flying around the pattern in this arrow, and all of a sudden, one of the wings fell off.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. Wait, you know
Yeah.
that person or you knew?
I don't know the one that, no, nobody knows him anymore. He perished along with the designated examiner. But the kid that told me the story worked at the flight school when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary stuff. Wings falling off airplanes? That's not supposed to happen.
So here's what so something came of that, and I'm in a, flying club where we have some of those Piper products, and they said the FAA was actually productive in this. Sorry, no knock on the FAA, don't come no don't come ramp
They
checking me.
actually were productive.
They were productive and proactive in saying, "Hey, not that's not proactive, that's reactive." But anyway, they said, "Hey, anybody with these Pipers, go check the bolts in your wing roots to make sure that they're not cracked, that they're not loosened, that they're all in correctly, the right material. Maybe they're somebody put the wrong bolts in, they're not strong enough." So they put what's called an airworthiness directive.
What's an airworthiness directive, co-captain?
So if you have a car at home and everybody knows that the bumper sensors keep failing and it helps you and it lets you crash into the car in front of you, right? So
It
so they'll
lets
put
you?
out a recall, right? Well, because some of these things, well, my cars they beep
Well,
and
I
then
see
they
what you're
stop,
saying. Yes, if it
right? They beep
fails,
and then they
yeah,
hit the brakes for you, right? But then
yeah.
one day if they weren't working and then you crash, like you're going to go sue them, and then when you sue them, they reactively put out a recall to all the other cars of that model, and they say, "Hey, we want to check the sensors because this car might not stop before it hits the car in front of you like it does for everybody else." So they do a recall. It's kind of like a recall,
Okay,
except you don't have to change every one of them. You only have to change the ones that are found to be broken.
interesting. That's like having the police do their own internal investigations. One of their cops goes bad.
Nope, we've investigated ourselves and found ourselves no wrongdoing.
Yeah.
It's typically the
So
end of that.
we've checked all the expensive bolts that cost 99 cents at Home Depot, but $99 at the airplane part store. Yeah. We're
100% correct.
yeah. So
So anyway,
okay.
so they did. So my club had two of these planes. So immediately we said, "Hey, they're gonna make this a rule. They're gonna make everybody ground their planes until they check to make sure the wings don't keep falling up." So we put ours in a mechanic shop right away. We just did it ourselves right away. And then when they said, "Hey, if you don't have your wings checked, you need to have your wings checked," it was, "Well, look at that. We're done. We already did it. Thanks."
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they fixed that problem.
But those people, you know what? There was no process they could have done to avoid that. They didn't know that was coming. That's not part of their pre-flight inspection to open up the bottom of the plane and look at the bolts that hold the wing on.
Well, doesn't that just scary then? Who knows what's going on underneath all that? How much corrosion and missing parts?
In
Blows.
Florida. Well, that was when as soon as you
Yeah.
started the story with Florida, I was like, "Well, here's your first problem,
I should have said
Florida."
Florida man, right?
Florida and aviation are just terrible combinations of things. There's thousands of training flights every day here on top of thousands of professional flights trying to get into Florida and out. Weather,
Yeah, that's because airports in Florida are like gas stations and golf courses. There's one on every corner. And
yes,
there's a flight school there too at every single one of them.
and there's plenty of there's no shortage of people coming here to flight train or coming here for Disney or coming here for here, or, there. But there's also a giant peninsula of salt water
Right.
and salty air and fog and humidity, which what does that do to an airplane? Corrosion. I mean, there's like a number one rule buying an airplane is never buy an airplane that lived in Florida ever. Meanwhile, they make Piper well, they make it in Pennsylvania, but
Oh yeah, I know. Vero Beach, right? Home of Piper Aircraft.
yes.
Vero Beach, Pennsylvania. That is.
No, what's the one in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania? I thought they were the
I don't know.
yeah. Anyway.
So they got the Amish working on it there.
All right. Well, so you hear this thing about the wing falling off, and you think, how come it didn't happen to us? What did we do to dodge this? I don't know what we did to dodge that bullet. I've flown plenty of Pipers over the years, and the wing didn't come off.
I guess we've just followed the rules that have been set in place after some horrible accident like this. As they always say, all the regulations are written in blood, so are all the checklists, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's and I really like that. I really like that after somebody screws up, which sucks, but somebody screws up. Hopefully not catastrophically, but there'll be like an industry wide change to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else that goes down that path. But for any of this to happen, there's a long list of what do you call it? Like a chain of events that leads to it. It's never just one thing. Like that wing didn't just come off because it felt like it. There's probably a bunch of hard landings in there, some missed maintenance inspections of cracks they didn't see. I mean, there's got to be some other factors, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's what we call the Swiss cheese model in the flight deck
Yes,
world, where, you know,
delicious cheese.
well, Tasty or not, it's full of holes and things can get through it. And eventually they get to parts falling off, and that's that.
So for things to get through the Swiss cheese model, it's kinda like a deli slice cheese, right? The slices of cheese, and if you throw a slice of cheese onto a slice of cheese, odds are there's not gonna be, like, the same hole lined up with it, right, when you open your pack of Swiss cheese at home.
Yeah,
But if enough things go wrong, or in this case of the pack of Swiss cheese, if you throw it down and randomly enough, eventually all the holes will line up, and you could pass an accident through those holes.
that's what happens.
And all it takes is 1 piece of cheese out of line to avoid that whole thing, or 4 pieces of cheese, who knows?
Isn't that scary? Reminds me of a time. I'm going to tell you a terrifying story. Back when my flight attendant, no, my flight instructor days, I had been there for a couple of years, and the flight school sold an airplane to a guy who lived on the other side of the country. And somehow my name got picked out of the hat to fly this airplane to him. So I was like very excited, cross country flying, not just going around the pattern 100 times a day. So I flew this airplane, a small Piper, another Piper Warrior, from Florida up to just outside of Chicago. And it was a nice VFR day till I got, oh, I don't know, to an hour, maybe 2 hours out of my destination, when there was just this giant black wall cloud looming in front of me. But here I was, the certified instrument flight instructor, full of vim and vigor and cockiness. And I said to myself, hey, I'm rated to go inside a cloud. Now, never in Florida did I see a cloud that looked like this, but that's okay. You know, when there's hurricanes, you just don't fly. When there's tornadoes, you just don't fly into them. But this one appeared to be standing still. I flew into that thing and immediately realized that it was time to turn around. I reached over to the seat next to me for my chart and my, my flight bag, because I was alone in the airplane. And I just had my flight bag sitting on the co-pilot seat, and it was gone. It had found
Oh,
its way to the back seat in that moment. So I managed to turn around, get out of it, and land safely and wait it out. That was hole number one that maybe should have led to some bad things, but it didn't, luckily. Hole number two was after this storm passed, it left a lot of, just not bad weather, but low visibility. So I was going to my destination, and I was flying an airplane that did not have instrumentation really. It had one semi-reliable VOR, and I had, back in the olden days, a handheld Garmin GPS, like the size of an iPhone sitting on my.
yeah, I have one of those at home in the garage somewhere, whatever still
Yeah,
works.
the kind that had a line, and it had a line and a little bar that would move left or right of the line, and you just followed that bar. That was navigation back. That was high-tech navigation. That was better than what the airplane came with. So I didn't have a GPS. Or that was my GPS. I didn't have an ILS or a glide slope. The best I could do was a VOR approach or a localizer only approach, which is what they had at this airport. And I cut down. Well, I was navigating using the GPS and the VOR, but at a certain point, you pass a certain waypoint and you have to switch frequencies, and I missed it. So I'm coming in thinking that I was on course, and I wasn't on course, and I started down way too early, and I was low, and I got yelled at by the tower for being too low. So I kind of just leveled off there, and I kept saying, oh my God, I forgot I'm on the VOR. I need to switch to the localizer frequency. So I switched to the localizer, and it's way off to my left. So I start turning towards that, and I overshot it. Now I'm doing S turns across the localizer at minimums, like 10 miles out. And I'm seeing little glimpses of the ground, but I was still way high. I'm still doing these S turns. The next thing I see right outside my window is another window of a building. Yeah. And so I almost hit a building. I almost flew right into it.
Oh,
So the Swiss cheese, I don't know if it worked that day or not. I'm still here to tell the story. And I
well, the
tell the
last Swiss
story,
cheese was that you had a gap enough in the visibility to see what you're about to hit.
I guess so.
If
Yeah.
it was more hazy or foggy, then you were dead.
Well, here's the thing. I was inexperienced. I was overconfident. I was by myself. And it was a long day too. I was like a 12-hour day flying that airplane all the way across the country. So, and the best part. So I land after that horrific approach, and I'm pulling off the right, and my heart is beating a million miles an hour. I thought I was going to die just right there. And then I pull off the runway, And the tower controller calls me up in the radio and says, "We need you to taxi over the FISDO office over there, please."
Oh, no.
Who's the FISDO office? Those are the people that make or break you, right? They can,
Flight Standards District
yeah,
Office.
they're the. And I'm thinking, oh no, they're going to take my license and they're going to tear it up, and they're going to send me to airplane jail. No, no. What happened was the guy that bought the airplane was sitting over there waiting for it. So
Geez, he had paperwork to do. That would have
yeah,
terrified me to say, "Go to the
I
FISDO bill."
did.
That's like somebody telling you, "Drive to the police station. We have something we wanna talk to you about."
Oh my god, it was something else. So yeah,
My gosh. So, yeah, the Swiss cheese model did happen. Like, it wasn't as many slices, but at the end, it was the seeing of the object at the last second. Because there was that one what was that, accident in it was a 747 in, like, Japan where they hit the mountain turning toward the airport?
well, I'm not sure about that one, but yeah,
There's a bunch of low visibility accidents where they think they're where they should be and they're not, and then they hit the building. There was another one at Mountain Bowl in South America.
American Airlines in Colombia, Cali,
Yep,
Colombia.
yep.
That one, I know a little bit about that one.
That
That
was
was
a
a real
direct, and they shouldn't have been
yes,
direct, and they yeah.
that was a communication, language, culture barrier thing.
Yep,
It just
and so there's more Swiss cheese holes that lined up,
and
you
that's
know?
more training, and now we all know every time I go down there, which is almost never, I know what to listen for and how to interpret it if I hear it.
Alright, here's one for you. I saw the other day while in Canada, shuttle climb.
What's a shuttle climbing?
Okay, yeah, it's in your charts.
A shuttle climb?
It's verbology, yeah, shuttle climb.
I don't know that one.
I didn't know that one
What
either, and
chart is that in?
this is so embarrassing to say, but we're briefing the missed approach on the fucking cruise, and we're like, "What is shuttle climb?" Like, "Ah, crap, I don't know what it is. What do you know what it is? Hey, get on the Wi-Fi and Google it real quick." And we're like, "We are thousands of hours of flight experience between the two of us," and we're like, "What shuttle climb? Do you know? Do I? No, no. I guess neither of us know. Well, somebody better figure it out before we descend out of this airport."
Oh
And it
my
was only
gosh.
necessary. This is breaking the Swiss cheese model, right? Like if we don't know what it is, we shouldn't be trying to do it. And it's an ego check too. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
admit to the air traffic control, like, "Hey, could you tell me what shuttle climb means on this chart? Because we don't neither of us know." So so apparently it means that so there's like a first like when okay so in the US a missed approach to say climb 1500 then climbing right turn to 4000 direct blah blah blah
Yes.
yep.
Yes.
Shuttle climb means that the 1500 is enough to get you past the buildings, and if you need to do it the rest of it in the holding pattern once you get there to the missed approach waypoint, do it there. Like just
So
keep working your way up in the hold,
it's a quicker way of saying climb your ass off to 1,500 feet.
and then the rest whenever, but we don't
Yeah.
care after that. But initially, at least
Shuttle
this.
climb.
Yeah, okay, shut up. We learned something new
I
today,
love
right?
that. I love that you guys were using technology, using
Yeah,
Google while
I
you're
know.
you know,
Oh,
it's funny. The other day, listen to this. The other day, I was texting my friend, Frenchie Q. Becker, who flies. He has a job like yours. And I don't remember what I was asking him, but in the middle of our text conversation, he goes, I just had to do a go around for wind shear. And I thought to myself, and you're texting me about that in the moment?
while he's doing the go around in windshield, that's hilarious.
But that's one of those things that kills us.
Honestly though, like the fancy new planes, I don't want to take our job and minimize it, but like once you hit the go around button with the autopilot, like it does it all. It levels itself off. It heads out to the holding pattern. I'm getting lazy as a pilot flying these newer airplanes. But hey,
Speaking of, hold on,
yeah,
I got to
okay.
stop you for a moment. Because speaking of Frenchie Q. Becker, he texted me 2 minutes before we went live here. He's got a new venture. I am announcing it for the first time ever. You are hearing it for the first time. He is now involved in this company called Five Stripes Apparel.
Oh, that
And
sounds amazing.
he said, send me your logo. I'm going to make a shirt for your podcast. I said, do you do hats too? So we're going to get some merch out there.
All right, so tell me about okay, we gotta talk about this though. So traditionally, the first officer has 3 stripes, and the
Yeah.
captain has 4 stripes.
Well, I guess the guy
So
that owns the company has five. So,
so I'll tell you, we used
yeah.
to joke about because they sell 5-stripe epaulets.
Do they really?
They do. We were gonna give it to some D-bags at my cargo company who, like, think because they project that they are some sort of superior godly captain amongst other captains. So we thought of leaving 5 striped bars in their mailbox for them
Well, that's
since
fantastic.
so they can be that much better than the others around them and just tell everybody about it. The kind of person that wears their epaulets to the diner after work to make sure that everyone knows they're the captain, even though they're ordering a hamburger at 11 p.m. at Wendy's.
Well,
Nobody cares.
I thought that was the guy whose wife packed his suitcase for 20 years until she died and he didn't know how to pack.
What is the going thing on the internet? It's like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's," or like,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
people ramble on about something you don't care about. You're like, "Ma'am,
Right.
this is a Wendy's."
Correct.
It's like, "I'm the captain of a 747, and when I'm the captain, I'm the captain, and then I captain, and then I have all these people that work for me, and I'm in charge. Would you like fries with that, sir?" Like, that's all this guy doesn't give a shit behind the register, right? So this 5 Stripe, I get it. That's an awesome, awesome business name.
I love it. So hopefully, I haven't looked at it because, like I said, it was just literally moments before we went live here. So hopefully, he knows what he's doing and it's good quality work.
Very cool.
We,
I
we,
wanna
yeah,
I wanna tell you about times I almost died since you had a couple of good ones.
I'd love to hear about your
So you
near death
almost
experiences.
died in the Piper. I have a Piper story. It's not super bad, but this is a CRM story, and I broke the Swiss cheese model because I let down my guard. So I'm flying with this other person, and we're supposed to go out together and fly. At my flight school, they pair you together with another pilot, and you guys take turns flying around the country and stuff. And I was the pilot flying for that flight, and so whoever's pilot flying is supposed to do your pre-flight inspection. So you walk around the airplane, check for dings, dents, missing things, check the oil, check the gas. That's essentially the gist of it. Check the lights are working. So the guy I'm flying with's like, well, you know, it's a personal thing. I just need to be the last one to check everything. It's not that I don't trust you. I just need to be the person to check everything. Yeah, I'm like 18 years old in a Piper Seminole, which is a twin engine, same kind of plane, but with an extra engine as the one you were talking about. I said, all right, dude, whatever. So I get in the plane, I start getting my switches ready while he's out doing the walk around and doing his checks and his checking his oil. And then we get in the plane and I'm flying it. It should have been my responsibility to do it, but I gave up that responsibility because somebody was insistent on whatever, fine. So we get up in the middle of the night over the Everglades of Florida. And I don't know what led me to want to take my flashlight out and look around outside, but I point my flashlight on the left engine and there is just oil
Oh,
all over
no,
it. Yeah.
that's not supposed to happen.
No, and it didn't shut down yet, but it was peeing oil out the top. And I looked over and like very sarcastic. So, mister, I had to check the oil last. Did you put the cover back on the engine when you were done with it? Because he closed the lid to the engine cowling, but you can't see if the oil cap's actually screwed in, much like on your car. If you leave the oil cap off in your engine, you shut the hood, you're not going to see anything. So we're pouring oil out. I ended up, oh gosh, I can't remember how far we made it. We landed and had to go buy oil in the middle of the night from this like FBO and fill this engine. It thankfully didn't fail on us, but we were over the Everglades. We
Yeah,
went down to one engine in the middle of the night over. I mean, the Everglades are not a forgiving environment.
they're
And then
not.
I had to call my like flight school leadership and be like, "Hey, we had an emergency and we landed and this and we had to buy gas and or not gas, oil." And I was like, I don't want to throw the other guy under the bus, but it was my job to make sure that those things were done. And I explained to them, like, listen, I know this is my job. I did my inspection, and then Mr. Superhero over here needed to do it again and
Yeah.
did it wrong, and I wasn't able to verify it. So I don't know whose side that goes on. Is it really it's the PIC? It's ultimately
Yeah. Well,
pilot in command.
who was the PIC, you or him?
Me.
Then
So
it's your
ultimately,
fault.
it still falls
Yeah.
on me. So I
Whenever it
shouldn't have
goes
let him.
wrong, PIC is at fault. Whenever it goes right, they don't get the credit. That's how the world works.
So that's what back in the cargo days, we used to joke that the 3 bars for the first officer, with 3 bars stood for not my fault, and the
Yeah.
captain with 4 bars, it's all my fault.
That's how it
Is what
works.
those bars, yeah. But I mean, we didn't there were so many things that could have happened between my starting my job, pre-flight inspections, and the actual incident that would have broken that chain was no, during this operation, it is the pilot flying my job to do the inspection. Sit your ass in the plane.
You know, this reminds me of a story. Just happened a couple weeks ago. Normally, my son is of an age now that he mows the lawn and he wasn't doing it. So I did it one day and I ran out of gas halfway across my large estate. So I had to traipse. I had to
You love it.
traipse.
You
I,
poor thing.
I had to traipse quite a distance to get the can of gas, take it back to the mower, and then returned the can of gas. And when I finished mowing, I realized that I had not secured the gas cap on the mower. And who knows, dust, little clippings, little leaves, bugs.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. Really dodged one there. Who knows? So, yeah. Was I at fault or was my son at fault for letting me do it?
No, but that process, so something broke. That this is where we come back to SOPs at the airlines. Is like we don't let outside events affect the usual flow of things. We got to revisit them and redo them, right? Maybe there's some spouses at home whose significant others are flight crew, and this is just ringing flags in their head as to why their crew member spouse is the way they are. Because I know it drives my wife nuts, and I'm like, "You broke my concentration. We got to go back to the beginning and start again." And she's like, "Why? Just keep talking." And I'm like, "No, I need to do this in a pro." And it sounds mentally challenged or something, but it's not. It's a work trait that keeps accidents from happening. You don't forget if you start from the beginning and do it the right way.
Now, to take the wife spouse thing down a different path, maybe you and I sharing these stories as opening up their eyes a little bit to all the things we don't talk about at home, about what goes on at work and what goes wrong at work. And they're sitting there hearing this thinking, what else aren't they telling me about?
Yes. Oh my god, I got to tell you, they almost called one time. They called my wife that I had had an accident at work.
Oh,
Yes, at
had
3 in the
you?
morning.
Had you had an accident?
Technically no. So here's the factors. So we had a hydraulic failure in a small sized cargo jet. It was a Falcon 20, and the hydraulic failure led to a lot. So first of all, they took the thrust reversers off our airplane to save weight to take more cargo. There was no emergency drag chute to save more weight for more cargo. And then we lost hydraulics that control all the important stuff. So like steering,
Oh my
half
gosh.
the flight controls, no speed brakes, no flaps, no gear. It
Jesus
was the
Christ.
primary. Yeah, I know, right? And so we had to do everything mechanically back up all the emergency procedures. We're going to make a no flap landing at max weight because we had filled gas to take off.
This is the nightmare simulator scenario.
Yes. The one that you hate every year at
Yeah.
Recurrent?
And
Yeah,
you
so I
lived
had
it?
that one. So
Okay.
I did. So we get up in the air, we actually took off out of base, but we were going somewhere, I think in Canada. And yes, that yep. Maybe we're going to Canada. Maybe we're I can't remember. But anyway, we filled up gas so we wouldn't have to get gas on the other end. And so we were full of cargo, full of fuel. And thankfully, so the guy I was flying with, we're still friends today. He's awesome. We had just gotten out of a sim together. Our what do you call it? What do
So
you
you
call
just
the
practiced all
jive?
this stuff.
What was the jive that you call chemistry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Our chemistry was solid because we just like a week prior got done doing all the emergencies together. So we took off. I called for gear up. He goes to put the gear up, and there's a loud, and then bang, and the whole airplane shakes. Something exploded, and it did. One of the hydraulic cylinders in the nose wheel exploded trying to retract the gear. So I don't remember what was up and what was down, but once it exploded, like there's a discontinuity in the line, so all the fluid's gone, and nothing else that uses that fluid can function now. Well, then the checklist for a loss of hydraulic pressure says to use the standby hydraulics to power it. But so when I went and put the standby hydraulics to it, it dumped that fluid out the empty hole too.
Sure.
Yeah. So we do the procedure, and I radio back to dispatch because we do the numbers for a landing with no flaps, max weight, all this other stuff, and we need like 10,000 feet of runway. I think it was 11. We had to go to the bigger airport on the across from base, and they had a big, like 11,000 foot runway. Also, I had no anti-skid braking, so you can't touch the brakes until like you're slow down like 100 knots, and then you can touch the brakes without risk of blowing the tires immediately, right? And if you blow the tires, you have no steering anyway, so you're really going to go off into a ball of fire full of fuel. It was really terrifying. Well, anyway, so I called the dispatcher on the radio, and is a new dispatcher, and I tell her what's going on, and she grabs the clipboard on the desk in the drawer that says accident checklist.
Well, it's just sitting there,
Well,
sitting right next
because
to her.
there's a big deal going on. There's going to be
Yeah.
an or emergency checklist because there's an emergency landing happening at the big airport next door, and that checklist is like call maintenance, call the bosses, call management, HR, blah, but call everybody, right? And like call the emergency contact of the people involved. So at 3 in the morning,
No.
yeah,
But
your
this is still
husband
going
is
on. You're still in the
in
air
it.
at this point, right?
It is. So
Yeah.
like
So it hasn't happened yet.
That's what I'm saying. So don't call this checklist like I
Yeah.
crashed. I haven't
Oh my
crashed yet.
gosh.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, you know what? If they tried to call my wife, if something like that happened, we recently got new phones. And I think when you get a new phone, they must sell your number to everybody who has
Oh,
any
no.
sort. So I've been getting spam calls. When I got the new phone, I was getting every 5 minutes, my phone was blowing up on me. So I had to turn it to silence unknown callers. And
Yep.
I did the same on my wife's phone. Well,
So when it's important, it's still unknown. Oh, no.
exactly. So,
Click, sleep, snooze, back to bed for me.
well,
I
I
think
couldn't
that's
turn
your
it
husband on
off.
the news. Yeah,
I
I
thought
know.
I turned it off and I'm still not getting calls. So, you know,
Well, anyway, just to wrap it up, we lined up and made a great, really fast, really risky landing that worked out great in the end. And uh, again, Swiss cheese models, like we stopped it with good training, good procedures, good chemistry, good CRM. But yeah, that pissed off my wife so much. She's like, I
and
was
it
like
did.
crying and a heart attack, and like there's been an
It
emergency and your
did.
husband. My gosh. Yeah,
Did you
we
get some
lived.
hazard pay for that? Just for dealing with the
We didn't
aftermath
even
of her
get a we
phone
didn't
call?
even get a pat on the back. That's how cargo is there. You
No.
just no
Yeah.
attaboys. Just keep work. Hey, can you be at work tomorrow? We have another one for you. You ready to go? Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
traumatized. Give
You
me a day
know,
off.
it reminds me of a story, if I may. I was flying charter, again, Florida, all the way, Florida man, me in this case. I was flying out of Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport to go to the Bahamas, way, way out to pick some people up. And I had a kid, young kid, sitting right seat to get a little experience. He was like 18 years old. And we were out over the ocean around Bimini. You know where Bimini is? Out in the
It's the first island, right?
it's the first
Okay.
island. It's about 45 miles out to sea off of the coast of Miami, and it's beautiful. Bimini is the only place, may not be the only place, but it's the one place that I think of when I think about, you know, those overhead shots of sharks swimming with the swimmers?
Yes.
Every time I go to Bimini, I see the sharks. The water is beautiful. It's crystal clear. It's shallow. It's apparently also how you get to the lost continent of Atlantis.
Yes.
That I've never seen. But on this particular day, I didn't see Bimini either because it was a rare, very low overcast day over the ocean. Normally, it's beautiful, it's cloudless, you can find every island you ever need. Not this day. And this day, I really needed that island because I was flying out to, like I said, pretty far away, and one of my engines blew up on me just about where I was over Bimini.
Over land, thankfully. You were like in the
Well,
ocean, but over like a beach.
I was over the ocean. Let me say that I was in the vicinity of Bimini. The thing
Oh,
is,
that's terrifying because it's all the sharks.
well, I never saw it though. And the thing about the Bahamas is none of those islands, save for Freeport and Nassau, which are the two biggest ones, they're the only ones that have any kind of instrument approach. So I wasn't going to be able to do an instrument approach into Bimini because they didn't have one. And
Yeah,
I
you'd have to
wasn't
see it, and you can't see
and
it.
I wasn't going to see it either because the clouds were way low. And now I have an engine. Well, it didn't die on me immediately. I still had some power on it, but I immediately decided we're turning around and heading back. Actually, the young kid was flying a plane because it was empty, no passengers. And I said, "All right, I'm going to take the plane." I lost power, but not complete power in the one engine, but it was enough for me to say, "I'm not continuing on this 2 hour flight. Let's go back." And at some point, as we're flying around, the kid looks outside the window and he says, "Is that engine supposed to be smoking?"
Gosh, how are we not dead yet?
Yeah. So I said, "Okay, now it's time to shut the engine down. Here, let me hand you this checklist. You read it. I will do it." He starts reading like a million miles a minute. I says, "Slow down." Now we're at like 8,000 feet and we got about 40 miles to get back to Fort Lauderdale Executive. And these airplanes, like you said, losing an engine over the Everglades, what are you going to do? Losing an engine over the ocean? These airplanes are supposed to fly on one engine. They're supposed to.
Till the
This
other
one,
one goes.
well, this one wasn't. And I kept losing altitude. And I kept saying, at this
Really?
point, yeah, at this point, we're not going to make Executive Airport. We got to change our destination to Fort Lauderdale International Airport. And so I did. Now, I declared this emergency right away. We had like 45 minutes to fly under an emergency. Coming down lower and lower and lower, and they want me to land. They, like LA, they had the runways 27s, 27 left and 27 right. But they also had, back in those days, it's not there anymore, a runway 31, which actually, if you take off
You have
runway
to go
1,
further to get there.
if you take off from Bimini and you fly directly to Fort Lauderdale International Airport,
Yeah.
don't even turn, you're going to be lined up for runway 31.
Perfect.
It was
Okay.
perfect, but they didn't want to give it to me. They were getting a little irritated that I was, number one, getting into their airspace because, busy
How
airport.
dare you?
And then I realized, when I'm at like 1,000 feet and I'm not sure I'm going to make land at this point, I need to change to runway 31.
Whatever the closest thing to me is.
And it was just about this point when I realized that the operating engine, the one engine that was still running, is the one engine that had the air conditioning unit on it.
Oh,
And nowhere on that checklist does it say, turn off the air conditioner. So it
does
was
it draw the
sucking
engine?
all that, yeah, all that
Wow.
power. That's why, as soon as I shut it off, we leveled off. We were stable.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. That
no
could have killed
problem.
you.
It could have killed me.
Being comfortable could have killed you, having air conditioning.
Yeah, can you
Hey,
believe that?
air conditioning almost killed you.
So we land and I taxi off and I pull up to the FSDO again, the FSDO office. And a guy from the airport comes up and he's asking me all kinds of questions. What happened? And at the end of it, he says to me, so in the future, we would appreciate it if you would give us a bit more warning.
Oh, for warning because I know about when my emergencies are going to
Right.
happen.
So I'm going to, when I file my flight plan, I'm just going to go ahead and declare my emergency then when I'm on
For
the
the
phone.
record at home, I am rolling my eyes to the back of my head, all the way
Well,
back.
I'll tell you want to know the truth? I already had a better job lined up. I had a month. I had a month to go. And I said, I'm done. I'm done with this place. I don't need this anymore. Yeah.
Man.
And
I
that
got another
was,
Florida one for you.
go ahead.
You want to hear my Florida one?
Sure do.
It did not involve Fort Lauderdale. It involved the West Coast.
Okay.
And it was the Gulf of Mexico at night. So have you ever taken off west at night out of Florida?
Yeah.
It's just black. It's like a black hole.
100%.
I honestly think that non-instrument rated pilots taking off, like people die every year taking
You know,
off west.
you don't even need to be over the ocean. You can be over the Everglades in a small enough, low enough airplane. Same.
Yep. It's all blacked out and you don't know
Yeah.
where the hell you're pointed and
There's
boom, you
no
crash.
horizon. There's nothing.
So this one, like your building story where you saw the building at the last
Yeah.
minute, I started to see the white of the waves. That's what alerted me now.
God.
So so we were flying a Columbia, my flying
What?
club.
Okay. That's
It's
an
like a
airplane?
Cirrus,
Okay.
4-seat, 108, really fast, sleek looking. And we were able to go. So this is really cool about this airplane. We beat the airlines from our takeoff point. So we took off. Where the heck? Anyway, we're going to Venice Beach, and
Been
Venice
there.
Beach. Yeah. So we're coming down the Panhandle of Florida, parallel all of the things. I think we were just below the Tampa airspace as we're headed south on like that shelf. So we're like I don't know 1,800 feet, and the shelf is at 2,000. We got to stay below it, right? So, but we know we have to be at 1,000 feet in another 20 minutes or something. So we set like minus 100 on the autopilot to make sure that we don't climb back up into the. I can't. What was this? What was the
Oh,
con?
no,
We have minus what?
you're talking
Minus
about
100 foot a
this
minute on the autopilot.
shelf is the airspace over the busy airports.
Yes, that we
And
can't be in.
for the unpiloted, it's picture the airspace like an upside down wedding cake where it goes
Yeah.
all the way to the ground, and then a little further out, there's a shelf. You can go next to the cake, but not into the next layer, and so on and
Yeah,
so forth.
because
So
big
you're
jets
below,
are climbing out of the Tampa airport
you're
at
below
really.
that wedding cake tier that extends out away from the airport.
Yes, and then we have to get even lower near Fort Myers Airport, maybe?
Okay.
That makes sense,
So
yeah.
you've set your vertical speed knob to minus 100.
So and we projected that it would meet all of our descent requirements going into Venice.
All right, now let me ask you this, because in my airplane, I set a specific altitude in the altimeter setting, then I choose a descent mode, be it vertical speed or another one, and when it reaches the altitude I selected, it stops.
Yeah, this one didn't have
However,
pre-select.
yeah,
Or
however,
maybe it did.
I can also tell my airplane vertical speed down without giving it a specific altitude, and it will just keep going until something stops it.
That's exactly the mode I was in, but I should have been in, 1,000 set in the altitude window
Yeah,
and then let it descend to stop at 1,000.
that's where I was afraid you were going.
Yep, so I didn't set an altitude there first, and this is the Swiss cheese hole. So one, we needed to get down because we needed to. So that was one hole. Two was we're worried about airspace. We shouldn't have been worried. You know what? I could have just talked to air traffic control and gotten
Yeah,
clearance right through that
you
airspace, right?
sure
And
could have.
they could have fed me between two airliners, and it would have been okay. Maybe I would have had to go a few minutes out of the way. Another Swiss cheese model was just my route. I didn't have to come down that early. And here's the other Swiss cheese model: staring at all the beach waves and condos in the middle of the night, and how pretty the lights were and the
Little
highway.
sightseeing.
It
Yeah,
was like 9:30 at night. It was dark, dark. And heading south to my right would be pitch black, and to my left would be like all those beach condos and buildings. And we were off the shore, so we weren't at risk of hitting any object, building or bridge. But we're looking, we're talking, we're looking, we're talking. It's me and one other guy, and we're chit chatting. And then we're like, "Hey, I can see the waves in the middle of the night, right? The glow that comes off
yeah.
like the
There were
street
white
lights." So
caps on the Gulf.
yes, well, they're very small, which is a problem because if you get
Well, if
these
they're
small
very
waves,
small, you got to be pretty close to see them.
yeah. So I think we made it down as low as 600 feet. I think it was something like.
Jeez.
I mean, but people cruise down the beach at 500 all the time. But the
Yeah,
fact that
in the
we didn't
daylight.
stop at 1,000, let's there's nothing to hit over the Gulf. If anything's 1,000 feet high in the Gulf, that's a bigger problem. But
Dolphins
like
aren't leaping that high.
no, I don't think we had oil rigs are bigger than like a couple 100 feet at most. So anyway, so so we stopped at 600. We were like, "Oh crap!" Right? And you see the ground getting bigger, cars getting recognizably larger, and you're like, "Stop!" And we stopped, and we're like, "Wow, that was close, right?" Like, and we could have let that go on for 6 more minutes, right, before we would have truly been in trouble at 100 feet a minute.
Yeah,
But it was so again, like line of sight and visuals were like, "Huh," and that stopped the accident chain from happening. But that
thankfully.
was yeah, that was a 5-hour flight, so I could see like maybe complacency and fatigue coming into play there. 9 at night, we've sat in a small airplane for 5 hours. I don't know.
Or, you're flying along and everything's going so you don't even notice the descent, you know? There
We
was
stopped
a
thinking about it because
well,
once we met all the requirements we needed, it was no longer like a thing to think about.
famous airplane crash, again, down in Florida, the Everglades, back
What
in
is it?
the '70s. Yeah, everybody talks about the Bermuda Triangle. Don't go over to the Everglades, that's where it all happens.
Oh, boy.
I think it was Eastern Airlines,
You talking about
maybe?
ValueJet?
No, we'll get to that one too. I don't know if it was Eastern or United, but it was way back in the '70s. An airplane, 727, I think. They had a they were coming into land in Miami, they put the gear down, and you get 3 lights in your cockpit to tell you whether your gear is down and
Oh, is that where
locked.
they were fighting with the
Yeah,
indicators all the way into the ground?
they got one of the lights didn't light up, and they had everybody in that flight deck, including a jump seating pilot, all focused on trying to figure out this light bulb issue. Nobody realized that the autopilot got shut off. Same as you. They got into a controlled descent. Nobody noticed it. And unfortunately, they didn't have any white caps to wake them up and right into the, what do you call it, controlled flight into terrain?
Yeah,
Right into
yeah.
the Everglades. Right into the Everglades.
No survivors?
No survivors. Although I'm told, whether this is true or not, it's a great story if it's true or not. Cheap airline, I can say it because Eastern Airlines doesn't exist anymore. Cheap
Oh,
that
they're back.
Well, cheap though they were, they salvaged what usable parts there were and put them back into service
Are
on
you
other
serious? That is
I don't know if
no,
I'm serious or not, but I heard this
that's
story and I'm
haunting.
telling it. Not
No.
only is that haunting, but as the story goes, with these parts came some of the crew members, and apparently there were stories for years that, the captain and some of the others, like, a wheel well or something put on a new airplane, the captain of the doomed flight is now on the new airplane, and, you know, people were having encounters of that nature. I don't know if
So
it's true.
this is a haunted story of part reusals. Yeah, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
It's a good fun
I'm a big
story.
fan of hauntings. I just think in aviation it's even harder to process. No, thank you. Oh my gosh. So I did one other thing in Florida, and then I'm done with my Florida stories. So part of the reward, so the chief pilot when I was a flight instructor in Jacksonville, he owned a Robinson helicopter,
Uh,
and he's an instructor and examiner, all these things. And he's like, hey, you know, if you want to do a helicopter flight, it's kind of like I'm happy to give all my instructors a flight in the helicopter before they head off to whatever they're, moving on to next. And so I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to do a helicopter flight. So, all right. And for the record, I've only had one helicopter flight. It was that one, like that I've taken the controls for. I suck at flying helicopters, at least to this date, with 1 hour
okay.
of flight time.
Well, you need
So
practice.
it's nice. It's Florida summer. He has the doors off. We have the chart on your knee board. You have your headsets on, flying along, and I'm thinking this is pretty cool. And he goes, more rudder, or like, is it still rudder? Is this still what they call it? Anyway, there's not an actual rudder, but it's the left rudder pedal, the point that nose to the left. And I do a little bit. He's like, no, more. And we're like cruising over swampy. I don't know. Does the Everglades go as high as Jacksonville?
No,
Kinda. No, but it's like the rural area up there, right?
it's all
Swampiness.
redneck, swampy stuff.
Yeah. So more. I said more. Okay. And I shove my foot to the floor. Bam! The whole cockpit goes sideways. And if you know, a helicopter is like the whole object is floating on a rotating disc of lift, right? The rotors are like the
I have
rotors keep
no
going.
idea how a helicopter works. No.
So the rotors are spinning on this lifting disc. It's making a disc, and then the object below you is fighting aerodynamics to stay pointed into the wind straight. So you could conceivably turn the body of a helicopter completely sideways and continue going straight in the plane of, like, the path of the blades.
Oh,
Like, you could be pointed to the left 90 degrees and still be going
that's
straight in front of you,
that's what we call a crab in the airplane world.
but, like,
An
all the way,
extreme crab.
complete crap. So
Yeah.
so I kicked that rudder so hard that the body turned sideways and the helicopter was still going in the original direction it was going. And because I turned this object sideways at, like, 90 miles an hour, the wind came whipping through, ripped our maps off our laps, the pens, the papers went flying out into the woods. The headsets were about damn near off our
Oh
head, and
my
he
god.
grabbed the wires so they wouldn't fly out. And then he goes, "Are you doing? Give me this airplane back! What are you suck?" You know, he was just swearing. All his stuff just went out the window.
Oh, I love it.
But, like, if I didn't have an experienced instructor with me, like, we could have just rolled over into the trees. That would have been it.
Absolutely,
We
you
were
could
only a
have.
couple hundred feet over the trees of the helicopter. 400 feet's like the happy place for a helicopter.
Yeah, well, I mean, it reminds me that every helicopter pilot I've ever known is dead.
No,
Yeah, pretty much.
that's
And
terrible.
I haven't known a lot
They
of
are
them, but
dangerous.
yeah,
A
they're
lot of these
terrifying.
medevac planes, if you look in the news, there's always a medevac helicopter going down. It's really, really scary.
I told the story a while ago about the time the super rich guy came down. He was having a helicopter built,
Yes, so
and
then you got the group
he
flight, the
brought his entourage with him.
jet
Yeah, so
skis. Yeah,
all that. Well,
I remember that episode.
he um he ended up flying that helicopter into some power lines, and that was the end of that.
The one that got his license, who
Yeah,
paid to.
yeah. He had that thing built custom for himself.
Oh,
We did all that fun stuff, but while we spent all that time together, I got to know his helicopter instructor a little bit
yeah,
too.
yeah,
That poor guy was out flying coverage over, they have a big racetrack down in, Homestead, Florida.
yep, yep.
Big race going on, and all the
Miami.
helicopter, yeah, Miami Speedway, whatever it's called, helicopters, newscopters, all covering the race, and 2 of those helicopters collided, and that
That's
instructor was flying one of them.
that's
And,
terrible.
yeah, so don't get
It
in
is.
helicopters, folks.
They are risky. They are risky. I've taken other helicopter flights, tours. I mean, there's a lot of operations going on daily that's survivable, but for some reason, I don't know. I'd like to see the data on how like deaths per operation or deaths per flight hour.
I don't know. I don't
I
wanna
feel like it's not going to be as
proclaim.
high because, like, one plane flight has 200 people in it, and one helicopter
Yeah,
flight has 4 people in it.
it's
Like
true.
the family in the Hudson River, that CEO from Mexico or something, and his whole wife and kids
Oh,
and everything.
that's right.
Just out of nowhere, boof! The top
Something
pops
fell
off, and they.
off.
Oh my gosh!
Full circle, just like the wing falling off of that airplane.
Helicopters. Ugh.
Well,
I
and
know.
I don't wanna make some uneducated proclamation, like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you not to take Tylenol, but I'm not getting in any helicopters anytime soon.
Are you don't take time off. I love it. Oh, if anybody wants to tie this episode to current events, just Google that. Oh boy, don't take Tylenol. Hey, all right. So let me tell you about this funny one. Maybe we're gonna wrap it up, right? We're over an hour
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
without the editing. Well, here's a how are we not dead in a plane, but it's not actually. It's just humorous. So it I got punished physically afterward for this, and you'll figure out why in a bit.
Physically. Oh,
Yeah. So this
I
wasn't a problem with the airplane. It was a problem
right.
with
I'm
the
looking at your list and I know where we're going here. I'm
yeah.
afraid.
Yes, you do. All right. So we're flying from Louisiana to Mexico, and then we're going to go back to Texas afterward. And we order some food from the Shreveport, Louisiana airport, and none of the airports are open yet. But there's this catering company; they can deliver it to the door. And this is a good idea. So a guy I'm flying with orders a sandwich, and I order a large chef salad. Cool, right?
Wise choice. Can't go wrong with a salad.
Yeah. Well, if you order a large chef salad at a diner, what do you call it? Like any of those, you know what it is, a diner, right? You go
Uh,
to a Greek diner or a regular diner.
One step
A
up
large
from a
large
food
salad.
truck, or maybe a step
Yes,
down.
maybe. Depends on what state you're in.
You're in Louisiana.
So I order it from the airport catering company. What I didn't realize is when you order from airport catering company, the sizes are relative to like the size of the plane.
Okay.
So a small salad would be enough for two.
And you're on what airplane now?
I was in a Falcon, just the two pilots flying cargo. So small corporate jet sized plane. And I ordered a large salad, which showed up. It was a large salad for 12. Let's just get to it.
You got the big salad.
So if you ever gotten a sheet cake from Costco or Sam's Club or Walmart,
Yeah,
the
sure.
cake had the birthday cake to feed 20 people. So if you turn that container upside down with no cake in it, right? So the lid is actually the bowl, and then the bottom of the cake is now the lid. So that container was the salad. It was 3 feet by or 2 feet by 18 inches and 6 inches deep of lettuce. There were like six hard boiled eggs, like 2 or 3 pounds of chopped meat.
Pounds?
Pounds for 12 people. 12 people's worth, like a chef salad. It's
And there's
ham,
two of you.
turkey.
So you can share it with
No,
your
no, no. He
sandwich
had a
eating
sandwich.
friend. You're not going to
I
share your
should have,
12
yes.
pound salad?
So six hard boiled eggs, the deli meat, the veggies, and I was like, and then there was like a bunch of onions sliced, and then a quart container of salad dressing. Like, oh, and I was like, this is not what I meant when I said large salad, but okay. So I'm like, well, I guess I have some of it. So we get in the airplane, and the guy, and we're still friends to this day. He's awesome, but we have a very sarcastic relationship. He goes, "Bet you can't finish that whole thing before we get there." And I was like, "Why would you even do this? Like, why would you challenge me? Like, if I say no, then I'm the
You
little
have to do it
sissy."
now.
I know it's not fair. There's nobody in the airplane, right?
You're
But
the
like, we
kid
don't have a
sticking your tongue to the pole at this point.
yes, and we had nobody else in the airplane, right? It's cargo, so also we have no lav. But I looked at him and I was like, "Really, man? Like, we spent all day together." And he's like, "What are you, chicken?
Oh,
Bet you can't finish it. We got 3.5 hours till we get
did
to
he
Mexico."
triple dog dare you at any point?
Oh yeah, a triple dog, the full peer pressure. Everyone is back home's gonna find out you couldn't finish the food you made the company pay for.
How long is this flight?
3.5 hours.
Oh, well, okay. If you
So
pace yourself.
here are my terms. One, you cannot make me eat the entire quart of salad dressing. Just two, I am not eating all of those onions.
Well, the onions are the best part.
Raw
Yes.
for 12 people, that's like two whole onions.
Yeah, 2 whole raw onions, you betcha. I ate them straight. Instead
I
of an
wanna
apple in
all
my
right, you know
lunch, I
what?
put a
I'm gonna
raw onion.
challenge you to the
Oh,
3-foot-long chef salad. So
okay.
I can eat the ham, I
Next
can
time we fly together.
so I said, "You know what? You're flying the leg to Mexico and challenge accepted. Less the all the dressing and the onions." So I start chipping away. It's probably like 3 heads of lettuce worth and 6 hard-boiled eggs and like 2 or 3 pounds of lunch meat and all the veggies. I did it. It was very, very
Congratulations.
the 3 I know, right? That's the healthiest terrible food challenge I've ever had to do. But no, I didn't die from it. I did have to use the bathroom very badly the rest of the day.
Which you didn't have on the airplane, you told me.
No, no, we got to Mexico and
Okay.
then and we had a 40-minute hop back to the States, so that was good on both ends.
And then you were able to wash it down with some, Mexican tap water?
That would have really cleared all that out now, wouldn't it? So we were actually, we were very good about keeping bottled water. Speaking of which, I'm out of water in my hotel room. I'm
Oh my God.
thirsty, and I'm staring at these 2 bottles that have little tags on them.
You
Guess
know
what they
what?
say on those tags?
$6.
Yes, it's exactly what they say. Isn't that
You know what?
freaking embarrassing?
I'm going to tell you something. I know that because you're on your little corporate gig nowadays, that you're getting all the points and you're getting all the perks and you're probably elite
I'm gonna go to
platinum,
the M
whatever.
Club. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to the M
Yeah.
Club and grab all the stuff I want here in a little bit.
Just so you folks in the world know this glamorous airline life of ours, yes, we're sleeping in hotel rooms all the time. We get none of those perks.
I'll
0.
tell you what though, if you earned status at a hotel in your previous life before airline crew, you are still entitled to those perks. And I have a few friends that we fought for it at hotels where we want the free Wi-Fi. You don't know, airline crew doesn't get that. I earned this status before I came here with this company, but I am still a status holding member here. Like if you have that
Well,
credit card, right?
congratulations to you. I have 0 status, which carries over into my family life and my other real life. So
That's
I think you
terrible.
should go ahead and pay for the $6 water and charge it
No,
to whoever.
I'm gonna go to the lounge and get Diet Pepsi and lemonade and
Oh,
waters and free
aren't you good?
wine and
Good
all
for
this
you.
M-Line. Oh,
Good
yeah.
for
You gotta
you.
live in the bougie. I
I
deserve
love
it
it.
after
Yeah,
15 years of
you
getting
really
beat up
do.
in cargo.
And you almost missed the runway today, so I think you should treat yourself.
I didn't miss a runway. Don't just Oh
All
my
right.
gosh.
Hey, guess
What a
what?
what a good
Well, we're still alive to spend that money on the water and go to the
yes.
lounge. So congratulations to us because we survived. We have survived. And we've
We did.
survived. And our listener has survived another hour plus if they're still with us.
They gotta have some questions about some of this stuff. Write us an
I hope so.
email.
Write us an email. Send us you know what I would love to see? I would love to see some more reviews on Apple or wherever you read your we don't
Be
read
careful what you
when we
wish
read
for there.
podcasts.
MC
Oh.
Howe, 1 star. Richard Million, 5 stars. Just letting
There
you all
you
know.
go. I love it. All right, we'll come back. We got more. I know last time I previewed worst jobs at the airport. This one
Yes, we
seemed like a
got
better idea today. So
we got worse jobs.
that's
We got
coming
back
out.
to the movies.
There you go. We got it all.
Cool.
Never
All
thought
right.
we'd come up. We still got ideas. All right, folks, come back. Join us again for another Cats on Guard. My name is MC Howe.
Richard Million.
See you next time.